So there's breaking news that apparently they caught the guy that whacked the CEO in New York City. And I'm not going to go into great lengths about it because it's still a developing story. But apparently they caught the guy that did it in Pennsylvania after he went to a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. And a McDonald's employee is the one that called it in. Now, you guys know I am a sucker for irony, right? The majority of people have come to the conclusion that this man that did this is the Robin Hood of our times, right? And if he's going to get caught because an employee from McDonald's, of all places, is the one that turned him in, I mean, you can't even write a script like that. What do the young kids say again? Just put the fries in the bag. If this is true, that literally applies here. Why couldn't you just put the fries in the bag?
Yes, they found him. When you take a look at these pictures, that is the person. On this clip, we are going to take an exclusive look. I have all the details I'm going to show you. But before I do that, first take a look at these clips.
They are never going to find this guy. He vanished the second he went into Central Park. Even the NYPD, like an hour after the shooting, was glazing up this suspect, saying he's the best we've ever seen. He's a professional. They're saying he flew in from Atlanta. He had a burner phone. He ditched all of his gear. He took the time to etch, deny, defend, depose into all of the bullets that he used. I think that this guy is going to be this generation's DB Cooper. Like, they are just never going to find him. He's going to turn into an urban legend. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yes, years ago, I saw a lot of people celebrating what he did. I put out a video partaking to this where I condemn this. No matter what, that is not the best decision you should take up. I understand you might have different opinions pertaining to it, but nobody should be celebrating the taking away the lives of this CEO. Now, when you take a look at this article, the person of interest in the UnitedHealthcare CEO execution has been identified as Logi, a former Ivy League student and activist. Logi is described as a tech whiz and was a former valedictorian. When you look at this article, you can clearly see that Rep Manjan is his ex-name. That is according to this person who put this out. A lot of people are putting this out, circulating these pictures.
I want to give an update now in the killing of the UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. A man who matches the description of the gunman has now been taken into custody in the state of Pennsylvania. Alexis McAdams has the update. Alexis.
Hey, Harris. Well, we never know exactly how quickly these things are going to move. All morning, I've been in Central Park as these dive teams have been doing everything they can to find what I was told was the weapon because they couldn't track it down. Now, investigators and NYPD police sources, Harris, telling Fox News that they believe they found a man who matches that same description of the gunman who killed that CEO in Midtown Manhattan. They found him at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. OK, that's like a 5-hour drive from where we are right now. We knew that the person of interest had possibly hopped on a bus and fled town. Now we're being told they believe they have that person of interest in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So we kind of talked about this earlier when I checked in with you. Person of interest, suspect, they're keeping it at person of interest right now, and they're just saying he matches the description. But not only does he match the description for people watching at home, he also, according to investigative sources who are telling Fox News, he had the weapon they believe was used in this murder in his pocket. So this is what happens, I'm told, from police, and it's still developing. But this person's at this McDonald's in Altoona. We've been putting these pictures out all across the country because it's been a nationwide manhunt. So they've been asking people, do you recognize this man in the photo? We want to talk to him. We think he was linked to this ongoing investigation. Well, somebody, Harris, said that McDonald's in Pennsylvania recognized him, called it into local police, and here we are right now. So if this ends up panning out and they are going to question this guy in Pennsylvania, we could have a huge break in this case. This comes as that CEO is having a private funeral right now in Minneapolis area where he was from. He was just in town for business where he was gunned down. Back out here live, you know, the question is, what's the motive at this time? Could it be linked to his job? Yeah. What, you know, what exactly
all right,
was
Alexis,
that all about?
I want to bring my team in who's with me now so we can kind of work through all of the great reporting that you've just done.
When you take a look at this video, I just obtained NYPD Commissioner Jessica suspect in UnitedHealthcare CEO murder review as Logi. Officer recover a firearm as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used. They also recover a clothing, including a mask, consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Additionally, New Jersey ID matching the suspect was recovered. Additionally, officers recover a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivations and mindset. Hmm. When you take a look at the whole situation, I really want to know the end result of this because a lot of conspiracies are online pertaining to this. Some celebrated it, some says this is a good idea, he's a hero, especially Libras putting this out on social media. If at the end of the day we can know the truth, what motivated him, it will be extremely good.
Well, I'm no conspiracy theorist, that's for sure. But I'm following this CEO's murder case in New York City. 39 years a lawyer. I've done so many murder trials, I cannot remember them all. I've won, I've lost, I've had hung juries, but I've watched this case pretty closely. Let me just tell you some of my observations, and in the comments you can think of full of crap or not. We never saw the actual shooting case, and the shooter knew the CEO's schedule. Now, when a spouse dies, or a girlfriend or boyfriend dies, the number one suspect is always the spouse or the girlfriend or boyfriend until they're not the number one suspect. But this was a very cold, calculating. That person was very adept at handling, had access to a silencer, and did not run away from the scene. He walked away from the scene. Most people that do raids, they run, they fire. My crazy theory is, and it's a good theory, and I'm not one that engages in them, is that the trooper hired someone to wear clothing like his, to go to a hostel, to go to Starbucks, and to throw the police out or off the trail. I could be wrong. Maybe it is that person who has a picture at Starbucks. But if you're so cautious not to have your face filmed as you're doing them, and you're so cautious to walk away from the scene, and you're so cautious as to use a silencer and know how to use it, if you practice all that cautiousness, are you going to be that sloppy to let your face be seen?
These are some of the questions people are raising pertaining to what has surfaced. What he's asking here can be extremely important, but at this time, the man is believed to have been found, and the motive that actually led him to do that is giving me that vibe like this is the end of the story. They will not search again because this might be him. A lot of people put out videos pertaining to this. I don't want to play that all. I saw this one on CNN where this man made it clear like the CEO did that to himself, maybe struggling to cover something. A lot actually came out, even on the mainstream media. I want to know your thought pertaining to the whole situation. Are you in support or are you against what is happening?
Of what we're talking about here. Things like, unfortunately, my condolences are out of network. Prior authorization is required for thoughts and prayers. I can't even pretend to care. I hope he's looking up at us. When you make millions off the suffering of others, don't expect sympathy. This needs to be the new norm. Eat the rich. I've seen dying patients get denied by insurance. Makes me physically sick.
Do you think that they know who he is? You think that they have his identity?
It's a good chance. It's a very good possibility with these new photographs that he has that they already know who he is. It's a very good chance of that. But I want to say something else that I know these criminal investigators are looking into as it relates to motive. There have been times when people have orchestrated their own demise for certain reasons. We know that there are some, and I'm not saying this is the case, but as an investigator,
Like for insurance purposes?
Absolutely, insurance purposes. Maybe they fear some type of investigation down the road. Maybe they want to leave their family in a good light. But there have been cases where people have orchestrated their own demise. And here's another reason.
And just to say, you're saying in a nice language, you're saying that it is a possibility.
It is a possibility
that he hired somebody to kill him.
Absolutely, it cannot be ignored.
Look at what CNN is spewing here. This is a conspiracy. A theory that they can't even back up. This is someone who claimed to be a lawyer.
And we have lost our collective
How do you know
conscience.
how do you know that?
Because
Because
it's online. I'm not even going to amplify and say who.
Totally insane to see them do this every time.
The only thing that's come closest to universal health care, my fear also when I was reading about this story is that, we're going to have RFK Jr. responsible for Health and Human Services, who has a brain worm, but he's also, it's not just the brain worm.
Legal note, I think the worm is gone now.
No, I think it got encapsulated in his brain. I went down a rabbit hole on that. But
A wormhole, if you will.
Yeah, a wormhole, if you will. But what I'm nervous about is if you read Project 2025, which is probably going to be the plan for healthcare, it's about privatization. It's about sort of getting rid of the at least limited amount of sort of universal healthcare that we have. And RFK Jr. really is more into holistic things. So I wonder, if you don't believe in in conventional medicine, what kind of medical system are we going to have? If you're angry at what's happening now, I'm nervous about what could happen.
I'm with Joe.
Sonnet Austin is, yes, look at what she's spewing. Along the way, they had to even correct her every single day, reading legal notes when she spewed this. I don't know if you do this intentionally. She's struggling to deviate away from race-baiting topics to be spewing nonsense every single day, talking things that don't make sense.
Many years ago. Let's keep validating the same outlets that continuously undermine us at every single turn.
Dear Mon Pa MAGA.
It states.
Trudeau is at the end of his time.
That's what she did.
NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House.
And Donald Trump will be our next president.
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris and making a political comeback unlike any in modern American politics.
You know what? Donald Trump likes my music. Please register to vote.
Look at this. She's only up by 15 points.
Got Taylor Swift.
Yeah, this song is kind of...
A litmus test for me and my friends.